Right, this video is going to look at the Citadel members area, and this is the login screen that you'll come to initially. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to complete the information. I'm going to log in using the guest account, which I would have sent you the details for. So if we can click on login first of all, and this is the home screen that you'll come across. So I'll quickly run you through the three tabs at the top, which is your account, your documents, and create a document. So we'll come back to those in more detail in a second. You can view previous invoices by clicking here, and you can download any sort of monthly invoices from Citadel. And the most popular features are under the create a document section, so it's like risk assessments, method statements, health and safety policy, and that type of thing. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have a look at is the your account section. So just click on the tab at the top here, and this allows us to complete some information. Now what happens is that the information that you put in here is merged into some of the documents, and the reason why we do it like that is just to save you time, so you don't have to keep putting the same information down again and again and again. So anything that you need to change, you just change it here. Okay, so we'll just go back one, and the next thing we're going to do is look at creating a risk assessment. Really straightforward. So we'll click on carry out a risk assessment, and that takes us straight in to the site specific risk assessment. So description of project, I'm going to say that we are installing suspended ceiling, and the address we'll just put Duff House at Neverland Road, London, SE or SW11 3BP. Yeah, quick note as well that once you've completed this information, it saves it automatically. So if you go back and do another risk assessment based at this address, it saves you details from the last one. So we're just going to put some brief details in here, and yeah, that's fine. So the first thing that we'll look at is who's at risk from this job. So really straightforward, we'll say that on this particular job there's the company's employees, we might have subcontractors, I'm going to put subcontractors on there. General public is probably not going to be applicable, but there may be other contractors on site, and there might be a site visitor. Okay, so we'll click on next. This then takes us to the hazard list. So in a risk assessment, you've got to identify the hazards, what the risk is, and the control measures that you're going to put in place. So for example, if we are going to be installing suspended ceilings, we're probably going to be working at height. So if we go to the working at height hazard and click that, a little pop-up box will come, and these are control measures, and you'll see at the top it says been done already or required for this job. Really straightforward. So what we'll do is, so required for this job, we'll make sure that the work is organised by Derek Wilson, who's the site supervisor, so that the possibility of falls from height is minimised. I'll say that you do that already. You already do a risk assessment, but specifically for this site we're going to do a permit to work system for high risk work, and we're also going to ensure that appropriate signs are displayed. So working at height, the initial risk, this is without control measures, or we will put to high, and then with residual risk, which is after the controls are put in place, we'll put to low. So click on close and continue. And just very quickly, I'm going to show you one more example, which would be the use of hand tools, for example. So you'd be using things like cordless tools, maybe tin snips, etc. So we'll say that all hand tools are suitable for use on site. Only electric power tools from 110 are allowed on site, and we'll say that Derek Wilson has the responsibility to ensure that tools are pack tested every 3 months. Remember these are controls that you put in place already, but we also need to list down what's required for site. And I'll say one more, all tools, particularly power tools, are stored in a safe place when not in use, so click site specific. The initial risk of using a hand tool may be not as risky as working at height, so we'll leave that as medium, and the residual risk, the risk after the controls are made, should always be low. So we'll click on colours and continue. And it's the same every time. So you work through the hazards associated with the job that you're doing. So if it was a refurb job, for example, you might have asbestos as a hazard. But I'm just going to show you this as a quick example. So we go on to next. And on the final screen it'll say something like what further action is required. So I'm just going to put something like Derek Wilson will complete a toolbox talk on working at height before work begins, and then by when, and we're on 23rd of May today, so I'll say that he's got to do that by next Wednesday. This is the date of the assessment. The date of the review, I'm going to say it's a 2-week job, so we'll finish on the 6th of June. And after we've completed that, we'll click on this button which says create your document now. And we can see the downloads instantly available, and you'll need a PDF piece of software in order to view the risk assessment, and it'll load up. So I'm just waiting Acrobat to load up, and we can see the risk assessments there. So it's been completed for the site address. The description of work is installing suspended ceiling, and then if we scroll down we can see that our risk assessment has identified the hazards, put our control measures in place including site specific, and then we've got our remedial actions there, date for completion, and our overall risk level. Very, very simple. Okay, so if we now go back to the Your Document section, which is the next tab, what it'll do is it'll create a record of the last 30 risk assessments and method statements and cost risk assessments that you've completed. So you can either download them onto your computer and save them, or the Citadel system will also save the last 30 docs. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you through the system, again because it's really simple to use, is the create a document section. Now you might remember on the home page that there was a link to building a health and safety policy, and if you look down the left hand side there's various toolkits. So there's things like training records, procedures for subcontractors, work equipment records, various documents that you can access. So I'm just going to go onto the health and safety policies section, and let's say we need a policy for lone working. Click on the lone working policy, and the details that we've recorded in the Your Account section are then available, and you can see that your document is available straight away. Okay, so we'll close that down. Hope you've enjoyed the demonstration of the system. We've got a guest account available. All you need to do is pop your details into the form, which is your name and email address. We'll send you the login details for the account and you can try the system out for yourself. So thanks very much.